Hello friends, this is Brooke Snow from brookesnow.com and I'm excited to do a video post for the vlog today. I think it will save me some time from typing but also be an opportunity to be just a little bit more personal. I want to talk about something that I think is really important today, and the topic is how to receive and deal with criticism. And being in the arts, it's a definite place where we can receive a lot of criticism, and sometimes when we produce things that are our own personal creations, they're really personal to us, and it can be hard to hear comments of how things could be better or improved upon. Personally, I have struggled with criticism my whole life. I typically would react in getting really defensive and upset, even mad, when other people would say things about my work that didn't measure up to what I hoped it would be perceived as. And so regardless of what it is in any pursuit that we have, there are many times that we encounter criticism from other people. And some ways that I have come up to help deal with that kind of go into two different categories. The first one is to consider the source. Who is it that is actually saying it? And number two, how can we basically learn from what that criticism involves? Let's talk about the first one. Consider the source. There's three main groups of people that I find that I receive criticism from. The first one is teachers, and being a student of the arts my entire life, I've had ample opportunity to receive criticism from a teacher. And many teachers have been wonderfully inspiring and encouraging in their criticism, allowing me to see a vision of my potential and how I can improve upon my work. And that's exciting. That's where criticism can actually be really productive. I've also had my fair share of teachers who just kind of lack vision and the ability to communicate in a way that is effective for me to be able to improve. The second group of people that I feel give criticism are well-meaning family and friends. There really are good intentioned comments that can come from those that are close to us, and oftentimes it's good to consider an outside perspective. Sometimes these comments are good. Sometimes these comments are biased, and sometimes these comments come from people that really have no clue what they're talking about. I love the words of my Aunt Elise that she gives as advice at every single bridal shower that we've had in our family. She always says to the expecting bride, listen to your mother, listen to your mother-in-law, and then do whatever is best for you. I think that same mantra can be applied to lots of different areas in our life that we receive advice and feedback on, and art is definitely one of those. The third group is one that does exist, unfortunately, and that is ill-meaning friends and family. And there really are people, unfortunately, out there that do give criticism, but their motivation behind it is not necessarily the best. And the best way that I've found to deal with that is, again, consider the source. If the motivation isn't in the right place, then it's really something that shouldn't be given much attention, even though it's probably tempting to spend our time and energy dwelling on that type of advice that we receive. If you get anonymous comments from people or feedback that you know doesn't have the right motivation, just disregard it. And sometimes that type of comment really has something deeper that is spurring it on, and that's probably more so what needs to be paid attention to. But how in the world do we take all of this feedback, and how do we best deal with it? I love the words that I read of Jack Canfield in his book, The Success Principles. Totally love this book, and this copy of mine has definitely gotten some love. Totally recommend it, and it's got tons of little short chapters of great inspiring things that we can implement into our life. But he has this great section in his book that talks about how to deal with criticism, and he talks about how when he is at his workshops and seminars that he goes to, he does a live demonstration. He picks a volunteer from the audience and he has them stand in the corner of the room. And he stands on an opposite corner and puts a blindfold on himself and basically gives the impression that his intent is to walk across the room and make it to the other person, the volunteer standing in the corner. And he instructs them saying, I can't see where I'm going, but I need you to tell me when I'm on course and when I am off course. And so as he makes his way across the room, he intentionally tries to veer a little to the left or a little to the right, and the volunteer, of course, will say off course, and he'll correct his path, and then he'll wander on. He might get off course again, and the volunteer again will say off course. And a real interesting thing happens is that he finally does make it to the other end of the room, and he says this important thing about the experience. He says, "I ask the audience to tell me which the volunteer had said more often, on course or off course." The answer is always off course. And here's the interesting part. I was off course more than I was on course, and I still got there, just by continually taking action and constantly adjusting to the feedback. The same is true in life. All we have to do is to start to take action and then respond to the feedback. If we do that diligently enough and long enough, we will eventually get to our goals and achieve our dreams. I love that imagery, that it's a great way to be able to look at feedback as basically someone helping us to get back on course and to be able to progress so that we can make it to our destination. When I start to think of things in that way, receiving criticism is a little bit easier for me to do. Not saying that it's all of a sudden a piece of cake. It is something that I still struggle with, but as I've been able to incorporate the feedback that I get from other people, I've really been able to improve my business, improve my classes, improve my photography, improve my music, a whole bunch of things that I'm engaged in. And being able to consider the sources that it comes from and apply in a productive manner that type of feedback to further our growth is really a wonderful thing to be able to learn how to do. So there's our video blog. I hope you enjoyed that, and I would love to start a discussion. If you have ideas of ways that you've been able to learn to deal and handle with criticism, please share them in the comment section below. Have a fabulous week.